A tomato plant stands at the edge of a garden bed, and something about it feels wrong the moment you see it. The leaves have lost their deep green color and faded into a pale yellow. Some of them curl inward, as if they are trying to protect themselves. Others hang loosely from the stems, too weak to hold their shape. The soil beneath the plant looks dry and tired, cracked in places where moisture once lived. The flowers that formed just a week ago have already dropped to the ground. Even the stem has begun to lean slightly to one side, no longer strong enough to support the weight of the plant. Most people look at a plant like this and come to a quick conclusion. They assume the plant is dying. They assume the damage has already been done. They assume nothing can be reversed. So they reach down, grip the base of the stem, and pull the plant out of the soil. They shake the dirt from the roots, toss the plant into a pile, and move on to the next task in the garden. In their minds, the problem has been solved. But what if that decision was made too soon? What if the plant was not dying at all? What if the plant was simply starving? Plants rarely die without warning. They send signals long before the final stage of decline. Yellow leaves are one of the first signals. Weak stems are another. Slow growth is another. These signs are not the end of the story. They are messages. They are the plant's way of asking for help. The truth is simple, but it surprises many gardeners when they first hear it. Most struggling plants are not suffering from disease. They are not suffering from pests. They are not suffering from old age. They are suffering from a lack of nutrients. The soil that once fed them has slowly run out of the essential elements they need to grow. Each watering washes a small amount of nutrients deeper into the ground. Each harvest removes a portion of the plant's stored energy. Over time, the soil becomes weaker, and the plant begins to show the effects. When nutrients disappear from the soil, roots cannot find what they need. Leaves lose their color. Growth slows down. Flowers stop forming. Fruits become smaller. The plant looks tired because the soil beneath it is tired. This is why replacing the plant rarely solves the problem. A new plant placed into weak soil will follow the same path as the old one. At first, it may look healthy. It may grow quickly for a short period of time. But as the remaining nutrients are used up, the same symptoms begin to appear again. Yellow leaves, weak stems, slow growth. The cycle repeats itself. The solution is not to replace the plant. The solution is to revive the soil. And the good news is that reviving soil does not require expensive products, complicated tools, or special training. In fact, some of the most effective fertilizers are made from simple materials that most households already have. These materials are often thrown away without a second thought. Onion skins, rice water, vegetable scraps, and even aged manure are seen as waste. But inside those materials are nutrients that plants need to survive. For generations, experienced gardeners have relied on natural fertilizers to restore life to tired soil. They learned through observation and patience that nutrients can be recycled instead of discarded. They discovered that water can extract minerals from kitchen waste. They learned that microbes in the soil can transform simple ingredients into powerful plant food. These methods were passed down from one generation to the next, long before store-bought fertilizers became common. Today, those same methods still work. In the next few minutes, you will discover 5 natural liquid fertilizers that can help revive struggling plants. Each one is simple to prepare. Each one uses materials that are easy to find. And each one delivers nutrients directly to the soil, where roots can absorb them quickly. You will learn what each fertilizer does, why it works, how to prepare it step by step, and the common mistake that prevents many gardeners from seeing results. One of these fertilizers can strengthen stems within days. Another can restore soil life that has been lost over time. Another can provide the nitrogen needed for rapid growth. And one simple mixture can supply a complete balance of nutrients for long-term plant health. But the first fertilizer on this list begins with something most people throw away every single day: onion skins. In many kitchens, onion skins are considered useless. They are peeled away, dropped into a trash bin, and forgotten. Yet those thin, papery layers contain a surprising amount of nutrients. Potassium is one of the most important nutrients found in onion skins. Potassium helps plants regulate water movement inside their cells. It strengthens stems and improves resistance to stress. Calcium is another nutrient present in onion skins. Calcium supports cell structure and helps plants maintain strong tissues. Magnesium plays a role in photosynthesis, allowing plants to produce energy from sunlight. Iron supports the formation of chlorophyll, the green pigment that gives leaves their color. When onion skins are placed into water, these nutrients slowly dissolve into the liquid. The water becomes a gentle fertilizer that roots can absorb easily. Unlike strong chemical fertilizers, onion peel solution releases nutrients gradually, reducing the risk of burning delicate roots. Preparing onion peel fertilizer is simple. Collect the dry skins from onions used in cooking. Place them into a container or jar. Add enough water to cover the skins completely. Then leave the mixture to sit for 24 to 48 hours. During this time, the water will begin to take on a light brown color. That color is a sign that nutrients are moving from the skins into the liquid. After soaking, the solution can be poured directly onto the soil around the base of the plant. The nutrients will travel downward with the water and reach the root zone. Within a few days, many gardeners notice visible changes. Leaves become greener. Stems grow firmer. New buds begin to form. The plant responds quickly because the nutrients are delivered in a form it can use immediately. One common mistake prevents many people from seeing these results. Instead of soaking the onion skins, they bury them directly into the soil. While onion skins will eventually break down underground, the process takes time. Nutrients remain locked inside the material until decomposition is complete. By soaking the skins in water first, nutrients are released faster, making them available to the plant sooner. This simple method turns kitchen waste into a powerful source of plant nutrition. But sometimes the problem in a garden is not just a lack of nutrients. Sometimes the soil itself has lost the living organisms that help plants absorb those nutrients. Soil is not just dirt. It is a living system filled with bacteria, fungi, and microscopic organisms that work together to support plant growth. These organisms break down organic matter, release minerals, and create pathways that allow roots to access water and nutrients. When soil loses its microbial life, plants struggle even if nutrients are present. Roots cannot absorb what they need because the natural processes that make nutrients available have slowed down or stopped. This is where the second fertilizer becomes important. Fermented rice water. Rice is a staple food in many households, and the water used to wash rice is often poured down the drain. Yet that cloudy liquid contains small particles of starch, vitamins, and minerals. On its own, fresh rice water provides only limited benefits to plants. But when rice water is allowed to ferment, something remarkable happens. Microorganisms begin to grow inside the liquid. Beneficial bacteria and yeasts multiply as they feed on the starches present in the water. Over several days, the liquid transforms into a rich solution filled with living microbes. These microbes become allies in the garden, helping to restore balance to the soil. Preparing fermented rice water begins with a simple step. After rinsing rice, save the leftover water instead of discarding it. Pour the water into a container and cover it loosely. Then place the container in a warm area and allow it to sit for 3 to 5 days. During this period, fermentation will begin. Small bubbles may appear and the smell will change slightly. These are signs that microbial activity is increasing. Once fermentation is complete, the liquid can be diluted with additional water and poured onto the soil. The microbes enter the ground and begin to multiply. They break down organic matter, release nutrients, and improve soil structure. Roots benefit from this activity because nutrients become easier to absorb. Gardeners who use fermented rice water often notice steady improvements in plant health. Growth becomes faster. Leaves appear brighter. Roots spread more deeply into the soil. The garden begins to feel alive again. However, one mistake can reduce the effectiveness of this method. Using fresh rice water without fermentation provides fewer benefits. The fermentation process is what creates the beneficial microbes that support soil life. Without fermentation, the liquid lacks the biological activity needed to revive tired soil. The third fertilizer focuses on a nutrient that plants need in large amounts. Nitrogen. Nitrogen is responsible for leafy growth. It helps plants produce new shoots and maintain deep green color. When nitrogen levels drop, leaves turn pale, and growth slows dramatically. Many gardeners see these symptoms and assume the plant is failing. In reality, the plant is simply running out of fuel. Vegetable scraps contain nitrogen stored inside their tissues. When these scraps break down, nitrogen is released into the surrounding environment. By allowing vegetable scraps to ferment in water, gardeners can capture that nitrogen and deliver it directly to plant roots. Preparing vegetable scrap fertilizer begins with collecting leftover pieces from the kitchen. Peels, stems, and trimmings can all be used. These scraps are placed into a container and covered with water. Over time, microorganisms begin to break down the plant material. As decomposition continues, nutrients are released into the liquid. After about 2 weeks, the mixture becomes dark and rich. This liquid can then be diluted and applied to the soil. Plants receiving this fertilizer often respond with renewed growth. Leaves become darker. Stems become thicker. New shoots appear where growth had previously stopped. The key to success with this method is patience. Fermentation takes time, and rushing the process can lead to weak results. Another important step is dilution. Applying the mixture in its concentrated form can overwhelm roots and cause damage. Adding water before use ensures that nutrients are delivered safely and effectively. When used correctly, vegetable scrap fertilizer becomes a reliable source of nitrogen that supports strong, healthy growth. And this is only the beginning. Plants do not rely on a single nutrient to survive. They depend on balance. When one nutrient becomes too low, growth slows. When another nutrient becomes too high, stress begins to build. Healthy plants grow steadily because their roots receive a steady supply of essential elements in the right proportions. That balance is what allows stems to remain strong, leaves to stay green, and flowers to form consistently. Many gardeners try to solve plant problems by adding more fertilizer, believing that more nutrients will automatically lead to better growth. But plants do not simply need more food. They need the right combination of nutrients working together. Potassium supports water regulation. Calcium strengthens cell walls. Nitrogen fuels leaf development. Magnesium supports photosynthesis. Trace minerals guide countless small processes that keep plants functioning properly. When soil lacks balance, plants struggle even if one nutrient is present in large amounts. A plant with plenty of nitrogen but little potassium may grow quickly at first, only to collapse under stress. A plant with strong roots but low calcium may produce weak tissues that cannot support new growth. This is why experienced gardeners focus on balanced nutrition rather than single solutions. The fourth fertilizer on this list provides that balance using simple ingredients found in most kitchens. This method combines several materials into one mixture, creating a full-spectrum fertilizer that supplies multiple nutrients at once. Instead of feeding plants one element at a time, it delivers a complete package of essential minerals. Each ingredient plays a specific role, and together they form a powerful support system for plant health. The first ingredient is banana peel. Banana peels are rich in potassium, a nutrient that helps plants regulate water and resist stress. Potassium strengthens stems, improves flowering, and supports fruit development. Without enough potassium, plants may wilt easily and produce fewer blossoms. The second ingredient is eggshell. Eggshells contain calcium, a mineral that supports cell structure and root strength. Calcium helps plants maintain firm tissues and reduces the risk of blossom end, rot in fruits and vegetables. When calcium levels drop, plant tissues become weak and growth becomes uneven. The third ingredient is coffee grounds. Coffee grounds provide nitrogen, which supports leafy growth and overall vigor. Nitrogen helps plants produce new shoots and maintain deep green color. Used in moderate amounts, coffee grounds become a valuable source of energy for plants. The fourth ingredient is Epsom salt. Epsom salt supplies magnesium, a nutrient that supports chlorophyll production and photosynthesis. Magnesium helps plants convert sunlight into energy. When magnesium levels fall, leaves may turn yellow between the veins, a condition known as chlorosis. The fifth ingredient is molasses. Molasses is not added for its mineral content alone. It is added because it feeds beneficial microbes in the soil. These microbes break down organic materials and release nutrients in forms that plants can absorb. Molasses accelerates this process, making nutrients available more quickly. Preparing this full-spectrum kitchen mixture begins with collecting the ingredients. Banana peels are chopped into small pieces. Eggshells are crushed into fine fragments. Coffee grounds are measured in moderate amounts. A small quantity of Epsom salt is added to supply magnesium. Finally, a spoonful of molasses is mixed into the solution. All of these ingredients are placed into a container and covered with water. The mixture is left to sit for 3 to 5 days. During this time, microbes begin to break down the materials. Nutrients slowly dissolve into the liquid, creating a balanced fertilizer that supports plant health from multiple angles. After soaking, the liquid can be diluted with water and applied to the soil around plants. The nutrients spread through the root zone, providing steady support for growth. Gardeners who use this mixture often notice improved flowering, stronger stems, and more consistent development. One common mistake reduces the effectiveness of this fertilizer. Some people skip the molasses, believing it is unnecessary. Without molasses, microbial activity slows down. Nutrients remain locked inside the ingredients for longer periods. By adding molasses, the breakdown process speeds up, allowing nutrients to reach plant roots sooner. Balanced nutrition keeps plants stable. It reduces stress. It supports long-term growth. But sometimes plants need a stronger boost, especially when soil has been depleted for years. In those situations, gardeners turn to a method that has been trusted for centuries: aged manure tea. Long before modern fertilizers existed, farmers relied on animal manure to restore soil fertility. They observed that crops grew more vigorously in fields where manure had been applied. They noticed that soil became darker, richer, and easier to work with. Over time, they developed a simple technique to extract nutrients from manure using water. This technique became known as manure tea. Manure contains nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and trace minerals. These nutrients support root development, flowering, and overall plant strength. Manure also contains beneficial microbes that help improve soil structure and nutrient availability. However, not all manure can be used safely. Fresh manure contains high levels of ammonia that can burn plant roots. It may also contain harmful bacteria that need time to break down. For this reason, experienced gardeners always use aged manure that has been allowed to decompose for several months. Preparing manure tea begins with selecting well-aged manure. Chicken manure, cow manure, and rabbit manure are commonly used. The manure is placed into a cloth sack or porous container. This allows water to pass through while keeping solid particles contained. The sack is then submerged in a bucket or barrel filled with water. Over the next 3 to 5 days, nutrients begin to move from the manure into the liquid. The water gradually becomes dark and rich, filled with dissolved minerals and beneficial microbes. After soaking, the liquid can be diluted and applied to the soil. Plants receiving manure tea often respond quickly. Leaves regain color. Stems become stronger. Growth resumes after periods of stagnation. Soil structure improves as microbial activity increases. One mistake must always be avoided. Using fresh manure instead of aged manure can damage plants. Fresh manure releases strong gases and concentrated nutrients that can burn roots. Aging allows harmful substances to break down, making the manure safe and effective. Manure tea remains one of the most reliable fertilizers because it delivers both nutrients and living organisms. It restores soil health from the inside out. It rebuilds the natural systems that support plant growth. At this point, 5 powerful fertilizers have been introduced. Each one uses simple materials. Each one transforms waste into nourishment. Each one supports plant recovery in a different way. Onion peel elixir strengthens stems and improves resilience. Fermented rice water restores microbial life in the soil. Vegetable scrap digestate provides nitrogen for rapid growth. Full spectrum kitchen mix delivers balanced nutrition. Aged manure tea rebuilds soil fertility and long-term strength. Together, these methods form a complete system for restoring plant health. The lesson behind these fertilizers is not complicated. Plants depend on nutrients. Soil depends on life. When both are supported, growth becomes steady and reliable. When either one is neglected, problems begin to appear. Many gardeners search for quick fixes when plants begin to struggle. They look for stronger chemicals or more expensive products. Yet the solution is often simpler than expected. It begins with understanding how nutrients move through the soil and into plant roots. Healthy soil behaves like a living community. Microorganisms break down organic matter. Worms create channels that allow air and water to move freely. Roots absorb nutrients and release compounds that support microbial growth. Each part of the system depends on the others. When this system remains balanced, plants thrive. When it becomes depleted, plants decline. Restoring balance does not require complicated equipment. It requires consistency. It requires patience. It requires a willingness to return nutrients to the soil instead of removing them without replacement. Kitchen waste plays an important role in this process. Every onion skin, vegetable peel, and leftover grain contains nutrients that can be recycled. Instead of throwing these materials away, gardeners can convert them into fertilizers that support long-term soil health. This approach reduces waste. It saves money. It strengthens plants naturally. And it reconnects gardening practices with traditions that have been used for generations. Before removing a struggling plant from the garden, consider one simple question. Has the soil been fed? If the answer is no, the plant may still have a chance to recover. A small amount of nutrients delivered at the right time can make a dramatic difference. Leaves can regain color. Stems can regain strength. Growth can resume even after signs of decline. Plants are resilient. They respond quickly when their needs are met. They recover when nutrients return to the soil. They continue growing when the environment supports their natural processes. This is why experienced gardeners focus on prevention as much as recovery. They feed the soil regularly. They recycle organic materials. They maintain balance instead of waiting for problems to appear. Healthy plants are not the result of luck. They are the result of consistent care. They are the result of balanced nutrition. They are the result of living soil. Before you throw away a plant that appears weak or lifeless, take a moment to consider what it may be missing. Look at the color of the leaves. Look at the condition of the soil. Look at the growth pattern. These signs provide valuable clues about what the plant needs. Then choose one of the methods introduced here. Prepare the fertilizer carefully. Apply it consistently. Observe the changes that follow. Watch as the plant begins to respond. Growth may not happen overnight, but improvement often begins within days. Leaves become greener. Stems become firmer. New shoots begin to form. The plant shows signs of recovery because its roots finally receive the nutrients they need. This transformation reminds us of an important principle. Soil is the foundation of every garden. When the soil is strong, plants become strong. When the soil is weak, plants struggle. Feeding the soil is the simplest way to protect the future of the garden. Choose one fertilizer from this list and try it this week. Observe how your plants respond. Pay attention to the changes in color, strength, and growth. These observations will guide your next steps and build confidence in your gardening practices. Share your experience with others who care for plants. Encourage them to recycle kitchen materials instead of discarding them. Help them understand the value of natural nutrients. Together, these small actions can reduce waste, improve soil health, and strengthen gardens everywhere. Keep learning. Keep observing. Keep feeding the soil. Because sometimes the difference between a dying plant and a thriving one is not sunlight, not water, and not time. It is nutrients.